Sir Martin. Just thought you'd like to know, sir, I got that fox that's been troubling the young partridges.
Has Mr. Tom been hunting this horse, Skinner?
Yes, sir, I believe he had him out yesterday.
Yeah. Go on.
And this bridge, it's in poor condition. One of the timbers has split. Will not last another winter.
You've been riding my horse, Tom.
It was arranged we should share the horses.
Not my old Hector, we don't. And you've upset the huntsman.
Moresby is getting more like a tortoise every day. Yesterday he wouldn't lift hounds, though I'd viewed the stag 10 minutes before.
It's no good, you and your friends riding around like a lot of drunken Irishmen. Hounds have got to be left to settle to do their work. Use their noses. What the devil's this hideous object?
It's a turnip, Sir Martin.
We thought to plant a few acres of turnips up beyond the keeper's cottage. They'll feed the beasts through the winter, and we won't have to slaughter.
Not on my land. These newfangled imported roots give the animals a flux. We'll use that grass for the lambing ewes, as we always do.
Father, in the Low Countries, I have seen the farming in this way. The success of these new methods has been very great.
Just because you went as a soldier to foreign parts for a year or two makes you no expert in farming this soil of ours. There's a great experience needed. I've been doing it for nigh on 20 years since your grandfather died, so I believe I should know what I'm talking about.
Since my grandfather died, that's the nub of it. I'm going to quit managing the estate with you, Father. Cropper knows and understands. You and I do not run well in double harness.
It's true, Tom. It's my fault. No. I'm a selfish old dog who can't learn new tricks. We seem to squabble more than the king and the parliament.
It's your estate, Father. You ran it well enough without me.
It'll be yours one day to do as you like.
Not for many, many years, I hope.
Well, what will you do then, son? There's a good house on the Welsh estate.
Oh. It rains in Wales.
Then go seek your fortune in the Americas. We have a stake there through Sir Austin Fletcher. 'Twas part of Anne's endowment. Is that not so, Cropper?
That's so, Sir Martin.
Ranting, crop-eared Puritans and man-eating Indians, that should be challenge enough for a brave young man.
No, I'll not be exiled, Father. I'm too fond of you and Arnscott. Now, I'll to court to offer the sword of an old soldier to the king.
He's in need of one by the sound of things.
If not, I'll play the fool in a mask and make the ladies laugh.
I'll be sure you choose not the Queen, who has a face something like this turnip.
Father, you could be sent to the Tower for less. Well, if you'll excuse me, I shall leave you to your labors.
Sir Martin, the cost and yield from turnips...
No more of turnips, Cropper. Sheep! Cotswold sheep!
Yes, Sir Martin. Oh, this came for you.
What is it? More complaints?
Summons from the Exchequer.
Damn the Exchequer! Why should the High Sheriff be a tax gatherer? The king will crush us till we crumble. Pound is half its worth 10 years ago. King has no gold left. Parliament won't give him any. Oh, it's the same old story. This country's going to the dogs, Cropper, no mistake of that. But no turnips. Tight. That damned cobbler would crush my toes to pulp. I'll take it off. Bring me an old pair.
But, sir, this is the new pair made
Do as I
specially for...
say, fractious boy. And Cropper, that gardener, if you find him fiddle about his work, throw him on the dung heap. And you, good wife Margaret, lock the maids in their attic at night. That new boy in the yard is a stoat if ever I saw one. The village already has enough bastard children in it to make a regiment. Don't you snigger, child. Your turn will come. The way things stand between the king and Parliament, we may soon need that regiment. Oh, and an hour every day at your mathematics with Mr. Cropper. Understood? Before any play. I'll con the book when I get back. Sewing, needlework with Margaret. New cover for this chair wouldn't come amiss. Music lessons with Hugh and so forth. You packed up the new lace collars and cuffs?
All in.
I'll miss you, boy. And tell the parson I'll throw him into the Tower of London with his runt of an archbishop if he so much as touches the communion wine. His nose has bloomed amazingly of late.
Father?
Lord God in his heaven, it's Mistress Fletcher. You're untimely, daughter. I've been sent for to go to London, to be bullied by the Exchequer.
Your clerk in Swinford told me so. I pray that you will take me with you.
Oh, what would you want with London, woman? Well, come if you're coming. The plague is raging like the forest fire. All the Roundhead prentices and the general rabble of Puritan, puck-eared rascals rioting and screeching their heads off.
John is in London at my father-in-law's house. They have much company and need me.
Hope it's good company.
Some of the best. Mr. Pym, John Hampden, and they have formed a good opinion of my husband's work.
I hear your John speaks well enough in the House of Commons, but some of the meat of his discourse smells somewhat of the rotten arguments of Mr. Pym and his gang of rebels. The king needs taking down a peg, I grant. Ruling without Parliament was sheer folly. But killing Lord Strafford was wrong and done against the law of England.
It was necessary for liberty.
Aye, liberty. It's a word can cut both ways. It's not for liberty they defy the king, it's for money. Anne, they all have companies in the Americas and the Indies, and they want to force the king to use his fleet to save their gold from the Spanish. Their god is mammon, not liberty. You ask your father-in-law, you ask Sir Austin. They can push the king too hard, beyond breaking point. Come, let's not argue politics, not woman's talk. We have better things. You, my hat! No, boy, a stout, burly fellow. You'd best be on the road, Sir Martin, or you'll hardly be in Oxford by nightfall. Stop fussing, Cropper. Fuss, fuss, fuss. You're worse than a hornet. Ah, may need that in London.
For the journey, Father.
Oh, thank you, child. God bless you.
Let me look at you, child. It's too long since I saw that sweet face. You've grown so like your dear mother. You happy and content?
Indifferent happy. John's a sweet husband.
Not yet with child.
Not yet. You will have a grandson soon enough. Be patient.
Oh, I miss you about the place.
You have Tom and Lucinda. Isn't that enough children at your table?
Tom's not yet found his course. He's like a ship without a wind.
The foreign wars unsettled him. Is he at home?
No. Just now he's gadded up to the court to sniff around the high-born whores that flock about the Queen. Much good may it do him. And Lucinda's but a child. Now, the house is not the same without you, daughter. Something of the spirit, the soul is gone.
Well, take a wife. All the widows in the county would die to wed you. Mistress Hobart, for one.
If she died to marry me, she'd surely chatter me to death soon enough. Chatter, natter, chatter. And she'd put all the servants on edge with her fussing.
She'd keep you warm o' nights.
To bed that woman would be like bedding a plough-mare.
Well, if it's bed you're thinking of, there's always Lady Welton.
Peg Welton?
She's handsome enough.
She's a shrew. She cuckolded me with half the stable boys before Christmas. You see me grown into a cantankerous old bachelor. And I enjoy it.
Well fare the hand, which to our humble sight presents that beauty which the dazzling light of royal splendor hides from weaker eyes, and all access, save by this art, denies. The gracious image seeming to give leave, propitious stands, vouchsafing to be seen, and by our muse saluted, mighty queen, in whom the extremes of power and beauty move, the Queen of Britain and the Queen of Love.
Elegant. Thank you for your compliment, Mr. Waller.
Majesty.
Comme je suis ennuyée de ce petit chien. How much longer, Sir Anthony?
Thank you, Your Majesty. It is enough.
Ah, a Westminster, you see, Lady Carlisle. Le roi comme il est beau. Moi, un peu triste, Sir Anthony.
Not sad, Your Majesty, but strong and serious.
Ah, really?
Noble Van Dyke, thy skills this canvas shows, this family of majesty in repose, proud rulers of a country blessed with peace, in happy union,
Lord?
which shall never...
My Lord Duke? Oh, Tom Lacey, my all, that's wonderful.
My Lady Salon.
Grown up somewhat, I think, my handsome soldier boy.
That is in the way of things. We all grow older. Is his lordship at court?
Feared he'll pierce your belly with his dagger. He's not pierced mine these last 3 years. No, he's with his horses and his hogs in Suffolk. You're quite safe, my pretty cavalier. I must away or she'll have my head. My apartments are as they were before.
Sir Anthony looks ill.
Sick unto death, I fear.
And he the best there is. And you have not lost the art of flattery, Edmund. You make a poem sound so easily done.
Not so. It took a full candle last night. I fear the time is near ripe to put away our pens and brushes and sharpen our swords.
Would you take a wager on it?
From where I stand in this great court, I wouldn't take a penny. It would be unfair.
Occhi belli, occhi adorati, non mi fate, non mi fate più languir.
Eyes so lovely, eyes entrancing. Eyes so wondrous, eyes that I adore. Nevermore, nevermore make me weep. Are my eyes beautiful, Hugh?
Yes, indeed they are, Mistress Lucinda.
Oh, now you flush. Oh, Hugh, I'm sorry. Only ugly girls fish for compliments. But you play act so well. All these songs seem to be about eyes or lips like two budded roses. Skin as soft as the down of turtle dove. Poets seem to think of nothing else.
They're all about love. Love songs, Miss Lucinda.
Well, why don't they write about battles or dogs? Something real. Important things. Still, music is supposed to be the food of love. Though why love needs food, who can tell? Can you tell, Hugh?
No, I cannot tell.
Are you in love, sweet Hugh? You are. You are, you are. Oh, who is it? You must tell. I command it. And if you lie, you shrivel up in hellfire.
I cannot speak of it.
You must, Hugh. Secrets are evil. They rot inside like a canker in the rose. I'll have to test you by rote. We'll try the alphabetic way. A. Is it A, Hugh? It is A. Who can be A? Ableford. What? Cornelius Ableford. But he's a man. Well, then the Greeks all loved boys. Not a gamekeeper. No. I have it. My sister Anne. Well, can you deny it?
You must never speak of it, I beg of you. Mistress Anne must never know of it.
She shall not know of it. Poor Hugh, to go forever unrequited. Still, you are beautiful, and there are girls aplenty. What does it feel like to be in love?
It's sort of tingling in the heart.
Kiss me, Hugh. Just once, for me to try it. Yes, I think there was a little. Well, just a little tingle.
Now shall you play a coranto.
So all is not healthy with the body politic.
No, it is riddled with worms.
It is not a game I would ever wish to play.
Your father plays it. He's a high sheriff.
A son need not inherit all his parents' vices. My father is a slave to duty. You yourself play politics, fair enough.
Thank you, Bet. Away to your bed. I have to play to survive. Pym and his Puritan gang have spies, even in our bedrooms.
Is he so bad a ruler as they say, this king of ours? Certain he is not greatly loved. He has not the common touch.
No. Poor man, he has no great skill in choosing counselors. Because he is slow and somewhat solemn, a flashy wit pleases him. And he is more ready to listen than to hearken. For my part, I think he is not the worst, but the most unfortunate of kings.
Unfortunate? Folly, more like. To marry a Catholic princess and let her flaunt her hated papist ways for all to see. Give his enemies so great a club to beat him with. He lets the Queen rule both head and heart. That's his main fault.
Oh, no, not his head, not all of it. In certain matters, he is a stubborn, obstinate man, impossible to move. In the arrogance and ambition of his own heart, the king really believes that God has set him up above all others to rule this kingdom. Anything he does is justified by God.
Well, then he needs no parliament.
Well, he tried to rule without it, but he failed. He couldn't find the gold he needed to raise an army. And now the Irish papists are in bloody rebellion. And still the king has no army to stop them, while Mr. Pym has managed the parliament so cunningly that he has shorn the king of all his rights and privileges.
If I were king, I'd not be trampled so. Is it to be King Charles or King Pym?
Oh, the king is a great dissembler, Tom. He enjoys the double game. You wait till tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Is that rouge enough to suit your taste?
What reason is tomorrow?
Oh, no reason. Those words never pass my lips. Oh, I blab worse than the queen, my mistress. Must be catching like the pox. Well?
Oh, I find you a most desirable, beautiful woman. Far more so than ever I remember.
I believe you will become a greater dissembler even than the king, Mr. Lacey. Oh, come, my gallant spark. Let's see what tricks of love those Flemish mares have taught you.
There is more bloody news from Ireland. The rebellion flames into a holocaust. 3,000 godly Protestant settlers put to the sword. The women raped, children with limbs hacked off by the papist rebels who are no more than savages. And all these plots in Ireland are but one plot against England. England is that fine, sweet bit they so long for and their cruel teeth water at. We need an army. Soldiers, guns, Mr. Pym.
We must have an army, and that quickly. We must vote the money for it.
Give the king an army. And who's to say he may not be persuaded to use it against us?
We, the Parliament, will control that army. Choose the generals, order the formation of it, not the factious firebrands and evil councillors about the king. We ourselves must be his chief counselors for the safety of the realm and of the people.
I have met some poor, wretched, ruined creatures that have escaped the massacres, and they have but one story. It is the work of the king's most close and evil counselor, concocted by her and her bosom friend, the ambassador of Spain. I say we must impeach the queen. Cut off her head.
If the queen is to be impeached, we must have certain evidence of her guilt.
Lawyers' truth is not a commodity greatly in demand, Mr. Fletcher, when the safety of the country is at stake.
Not so hard, William. John Fletcher is new to our business. His will has not yet been tempered in the fierce furnace we others have endured.
To impeach the Queen will force the King to war, and are we ready for such a war? If we fight the King 100 times and beat him 99, he'll be king still. But if he beats us but once, that's the last time. We shall lose our own heads, we shall lose our estates, and our families brought to ruin.
I suggest Sir Austin gets aboard one of his fine ships and goes a-sailing to the Indies, and takes his faint heart with him.
Sir Austin counsels wisdom. When we strike, we must strike hard and sure. In truth, it is certain that the religion of the Catholic Church is destructive to all others. The papists seek to destroy both Parliament and King, and make us slaves to the accursed rule of Rome. We have come to the vertical point of these times. It is God's will that we save the king from his enemies. Gentlemen, see to it that the bloody news of this papist plot against the realm is spread about the city by our godly preachers, so that the flame of it spreads through the streets and among the docks and along the river till its rage consume the evil counselors of the king.
Who is it?
Forgive me, sir. A word in private, Mr. Pym.
Gentlemen. Lucy, dear cousin. The king has beaten us to the throw. The state brings articles of high treason and high misdemeanor against Mr. Denzil Hollis, Sir Arthur Hazelrig, Mr. John Pym, Mr. John Hampden, and Mr. William Strode, that they have traitorously endeavored to subvert the fundamental laws and government of the Kingdom of England, to deprive the king of his regal power, and to place an arbitrary and tyrannical power over the lives, liberties, and estates of His Majesty's liege people. We are to have the honor to be arrested in the House of Commons by the king himself at about 2 o'clock tomorrow. Sir Austin, through your good offices, we should be greatly obliged for the loan of a barge to be at Whitehall Steps at about noon.
It shall be there.
Oh, Tom, what confusion! The king has fled already, taking the Queen and the princes with him. They rest tonight at Hampton Court. Whatever happened in the Commons? Rumors fly around this place like bats. Were you there?
Yes, 300 or 400 of us went with the king to Westminster. All swashbuckling and cavalier, ready to break anyone's head for a shilling.
Yes, tell me, tell me.
The king told us to stay still at the cost of our lives. Then he went into the chamber, uncovered, while Lord Roxburgh held the door. All stood up. Silence as the king walked over to the speaker's chair and asked Speaker Lenthal for the loan of it. He sat down and began to speak. He said, "Treason has no privilege." Then he began to call out the names. Mr. Pym, Mr. Hollis. Then silence again as he saw the empty places. I think he murmured, The birds have flown. Something of the like. As he walked out, I've never seen such bitter anger on a man's face. And yet always with dignity.
It was that whore bitch Carlisle betrayed him. She's as two-faced as a coin. I've warned the Queen of her many times, but she wouldn't hear. Lucy Carlisle is her favorite, poor stupid woman.
I hope the king will have her head for it.
No, never. She'll be safe in hiding with Mr. Pym and the rest.
Oh, sure, the king has lost London. What of you?
Well, I'm to meet the Queen at Dover. We're going to Holland on the pretext of seeing the Queen's daughter, but in truth, to pawn these.
What, are they hers, the Queen's?
Some of them, yes. We've divided them between us to buy guns and an army for the king.
What of the king?
Well, the king goes north. And he has sent for Rupert.
But Rupert's in prison still. In Austria, in Linz.
The king has bought him out.
Are you safe?
Yes, my arrangements are all made. Goodbye, my valiant lover. And may God have mercy on us both and this poor kingdom. You must go.
God bless you.
What a funny-looking dog. Where have you come from?
Good day, madam.
Is he yours?
Yes, he's called Boy. He's a poodle.
Poodle. Is he fast?
Are there hares about here?
Not many. See those trees on the hill? I'll race you to them and the dogs will chase.
Very well.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, go!
Well done.
My name is Lucinda Lacey.
And mine is Rupert.
Have you come far?
Yes, rather a long way. From Austria.
What were you doing there?
I was in prison.
How horrible for you.
Oh, it wasn't too horrible at all. I had my dog. And the governor's daughter was most beautiful.
What a strange prison. Well, our prison in Swinford is not of that sort at all. I'm sure my father, who is a magistrate, and the High Sheriff would not allow dogs in it.
I was a war prisoner. I was captured in a battle.
My brother Tom was in the foreign wars.
Yes, I know him. It is he I have come to see.
Prince Rupert. Oh, your Royal Highness.
That's right. I am Prince Rupert.
Pray forgive me, Your Highness.
Forgive? What is there to forgive?
I was so forward.
It was a fine meeting. You have a sparkle about you. Like your brother, Miss Lacey. Now, will you show me the way to Arnsburg Castle?
Yes.
And we pray that His Majesty the King and the Honourable Assembly of Parliament shall mend their differences, and that England may still continue one of Christ's golden candlesticks. The ministers, stars in his right hand, the whole kingdom and people in covenant with God and the peace of the gospel, that we may sit every man under his own vine and fig tree and enjoy happy peace to us and prosperity to the world's end.
Excellent. You have a sweet turn of phrase, Master Cropper.
Is that the sort of flowery nonsense that will soften the hearts of your Puritan friends in Parliament?
Not my friends, Sir Martin. I may have had them in my house sometimes for the further advancement of my son in the Parliament, but not my friends. Their opinions and actions are too strong for me. A mile too strong. What of the king? Will he like the wording of the petition, do you think?
Oh, he'll like it well enough. He has that sort of silvery grease poured in his ears daily by the likes of Lovelace and Waller.
And petitions such as this are coming in from all the corners of the country. Hundreds of them.
An awesome thought.
Everyone's agreed that we can't have the King at York and Pym in London just sitting growling at each other. They must meet and talk like reasonable men. I mean, you and I, Sir Martin, we don't see eye to eye on everything, not by any means. But we sit together on the bench. We deliver judgment impartially together. You're for King and Parliament, and I'm for Parliament and King. We run the county round here in harmony. We could run the whole country so.
Oh, would that we did. And the present dangers and distractions would soon vanish away.
Mr. Pym is not against the King, only his evil counsellors.
That's the sort of double talk worthy of the King himself. The King gets the counsellors he chooses. I'm no great admirer of King Charles, but I am for kingship and the rule of the present law, as my ancestors have been for centuries. No, my dear old friend. At the heart of this sad confusion in the kingdom, we have two men, both hard and arrogant, both believing God is with them, both jealous and greedy for power, both unyielding. That's the rub of this particular game, and I doubt 1,000 petitions will make them change their courses one notch.
Father, we have a visitor.
Oh, not now, Tom. I'm engaged.
An important visitor.
Well, you receive them, Tom.
A royal visitor.
Not the King.
Prince Rupert of the Rhine. He is here and awaits. Sir, my father.
We are greatly honored, Your Royal Highness.
And Sir Austin Fletcher, my sister's father-in-law.
Lucinda?
No, Anne, my twin.
We hope you will rest here a while, sir, although this place is not worthy, but a
My
poor...
usual bedroom, sir, is a tent or a barn. Remember that pig house we shared at Breda, Tom? And lately I have been shut up in a great, dark fortress. So Anscott seems a demi-paradise to me.
Thank you, sir.
I'm on the road to Nottingham to join my uncle, the King.
Not York, sir?
The King is to raise his standard in Nottingham.
Then His Majesty is determined upon a war.
Sadly, my uncle has been provoked beyond any endurance. These fractious, puritanical men in London have rebelled against the crown. I am come to help my uncle raise an army to put them down.
God save the King.
God save the King. Perhaps you will take some refreshment, Your Royal Highness.
No, later, sir, if I may. Just now I am all sweat and dusty from the road.
I will show the prince to his room.
I will steal your son, sir, if I may. He knows more of soldiering than most men I know. And we shall have a hard time to knock these peaceful English gentlemen into some fierce and able shape.
He is at your service, sir. Well, Cropper, see that arrangements are made to receive His Royal Highness.
They're already done, sir. We are greatly honored. Shall you be attending to the safe delivery of the petition?
No, put it away.
Sir?
Take it away, man. Do as I say. Cropper. Take a message by your word of mouth to Mr. Pike at Boyton. Request him on my account to go into Swinford as privately and quietly as may be, and bring half the match, powder, and bullets stored in the armory there to this house with as much expedition as he can manage.
I never thought I'd see the day when a dog would eat my best venison dry.
Ah, but that's no ordinary dog, Mr. Stumphrey. That's a royal dog. They say the Grand Turk wanted such a dog.
Real silver on his collar.
I've seen him eat a Polak's arm for his dinner before now.
There's a sweetness in the human flesh they lust for, so have a care, girl.
Yeah, I've heard say that dog's the prince's familiar and keeps him proof from bullets in the battle.
He sleeps on the prince's bed. I know that.
Well, how do you know that? You've been in his bed too, Anna?
I've seen the dirty paw marks on all their sheets.
Ah, vielen Dank, Fräulein. Vielen Dank. Ah, ein wunderbares Mädel. Jung und frisch.
No, I won't have none of that now, Mr. Ludwig.
No, we don't speak no English, but you do speak the language of love that I do know, Anna. Frequently. Not to say often, and especially with comely serving wenches.
Yeah, well, not with me, you don't. Common serving wench or no.
No, comely, not common. For me, your beauty is as finely shaped as nature can frame.
Real Saltmarsh. I don't know where you find such words.
Oh, it's been in such close company with gentlemen and princes.
Well, I'm bespoke to Walter Jackman. Princes or no princes. Real gold lace. I never thought to see such things. Not in all my lifetime.
I wonder how many men the prince has spiked with that sword.
Rachel! Rachel! You slut of a girl. Just look at this pot. Full of mouse droppings, spiders, and the Lord knows what else.
Wait there.
Clean it! Why, God should curse me with such a stupid scullion girl when I've got dinner to cook for a royal prince.
Well, we'll all be off to make the war soon.
War? What's all this talk of war?
Look out here.
What's that then?
Powder, match, and bullet. That's not just for us to practice popping our pistols. There's enough powder there to blow up this house twice over.
Who's going to blow up this house? The only enemies this kingdom has are the Frenchies and the Spanish. I've learnt that from the history books. And I haven't heard of either of them coming across the sea to make war.
There's a pestilence in the country's blood. It's overheated and violent. A great carbuncle with many heads has come up and it'll burst and rain blood and pus over all the land.
Should have her tongue cut out, that old hag.
Blood and pus will drown all the fairies and Robin Goodfellow. There'll be no more dancing round the maypole.
What's war like, Mr. Will?
Well, speaking for myself, if I'm cunning enough to keep off the pikes and guns, which I am, it means a full belly and good loot.
Well, what'll it be like for us here?
Well, for you, Rachel, it could mean a full belly of a different sort.
Out! Out to my kitchen and take that dog with you.
Well,
When the flame of war breaks out in the tops of chimneys, the smoke will cover the whole land.
this here is what we call a wheel-lock pistol, which we all have to learn how to fire, for fear of a time when rogues will come to look for booty in a house such as this. Now, here's the wheel. Now, before you fire it, you span it up like this. Now, a spark flies across the touch hole, ignites the charge, and bang. Now, to load, take a spoonful of powder, then the wad, then the bullet. Now, always aim for the belly button. Some ardent. Now span the wheel.
I am to be the general of the horse, in absolute command, only answering to the king himself. No old fuddy generals to pish and whore and stop the action.
The English are not used to war. They'll be very green, like unbroken colts.
Well, that's best, before they found bad habits. I've seen you English hunting. They have good, brave hearts and strong, fast horses. That's all we need.
We'll soon run those rebels to ground, sir.
I tell you, Tom, give me 4,000 horse, armed with pistols and sword, and I will give England back to the king within the week. And every spike in London town will boast a rebel's head.
Nice shot, Sir Martin. Dead as mutton. Now, Mr. Cropper. All right, now, slowly up and squeeze. Come on, Mr. Cropper. There's a great whoremonger of a Puritan coming at you with his pike. Yeah, clip the cock of the church weathervane, most likely. Sorry, Mr. Cropper. I'm afraid that roundhead had your guts for garters.
May I make a trial?
Oh, why not?
Now, careful. Point it always towards the target. Now, firm. Not too tight. Don't hang on the aim. Are you ready?
Yes.
Then fire.
Very good.
Nice pattern, Miss Lucinda. You choose the heart.
You'd make a fine soldier, Lucinda.
I'd give my life to come with you, sir.
You may be needed here.
I wish I were a man.
Before long, I think, there will be many men who are right glad that you are a maid.
Good day, gentlemen. Thank you, Cropper. Please be seated. Let us proceed to the matter in hand directly. Gentlemen, old friends and neighbors, our poor country is rocked on a sea of dangers and distractions. I have called you here because I have today received the King's Commission of Array, in which His Majesty, being well assured of the cheerful compliance and loyalty of the greater number of gentlemen hereabouts, does call upon each one to take a commission in his army and form troops and companies from his loyal subjects to come to his aid.
God save the king.
God save the king.
What for does the king seek our aid?
He requests aid to put down those rebellious parts of his parliament that seek to overturn the state.
I think this king could no more manage an army than he can manage his wife, or his councillors, who are feeble, fractious, and corrupt. The only army this king is like to get, for all his fine commission of array, are the papists. The debauched nobility and gentry, broken down servants and tapsters and the like. The lewder rout of people.
I am sorry of your opinion, Mr. Ayres. It shall be noted.
Father-in-law, gentlemen, I am lately come from London with orders from Parliament to muster militia and train bands in these parts to fight for the King's Parliament.
Oh, so many false reports are spread abroad that a man knows not what to believe.
Train bands. You go beat your drum outside the town hall in Swinford, John. And though you scatter gold on the streets, you'll get no more than a few loutish butcher boys and roguish roundhead apprentices running to your call.
John Fletcher has his orders, Tom. Let him obey them if that is what his conscience dictates. Further, His Majesty requests the loan of the powder, match, and bullets stored in our local armories.
Our local armories? May I ask on whose authority half the powder, shot, and match belonging to this part of the county was taken from Swinford to this castle?
On mine, Mr. Ayres, as the King's High Sheriff for the county.
It is stolen, then, without consulting us?
No, sir. It is here for the better safety and that it may be well guarded.
And now, by a sudden chance, The king requests that he may borrow it.
Not by chance, Mr. Ayres.
The powder is paid for by us with our money. It is ours for our defense. I hope, Sir Martin, you will not disarm the county at such a time of danger.
His Majesty, having dire necessities, requests only to borrow it off the county, Mr. Capel.
I say, we loan to the king that part that lies here at Arnscourt, and the half we have at Swinford we keep for our own defence.
I will part with all my blood before I let the king have one corn of it.
I will part with some of your blood now, Mr. Ayres. If there is any left in your shriveled up and disloyal heart.
This is the house of a known malignant who harbors a papist prince under his roof. I say we tumble the lot out of the window.
You may throw me out of the window if you can.
Your Royal Highness.
But I won't be dubbed a papist by you or any man alive.
My father, the King of Bohemia, lost his whole kingdom in the Protestant cause in Europe, and I have been near to losing my life for it.
Your Highness, Your Royal Highness, I do most humbly beg your forgiveness.
You have it. And you should beg Sir Martin his for your unseemly behavior. Please be seated.
Thank you, sir. You are indeed guests under my roof. This is not child's play. We have serious business. It seems we are divided. So be it. The great God, which is the keeper of my heart, knows with what sad sense I go into this service. We are all upon this stage and must act out the parts that are assigned to us in this tragedy, but let us do it by the way of honor, without any personal animosities. And let us pray to the God of peace that he will bring a quick end to this war without an enemy.
Amen.
Amen.
Good day to you, gentlemen.
It was nobly spoken, Sir Martin.
Goodbye, old friend.
Try to make them see sense. Goodbye, John. Look after Anne.
With my life.
You say 5 pence for this ill-wrought piece of iron? It'll burn through in a week. Well, a month.
Ah, 'twill be in good fettle when you're but food for the worms, mistress. That's best Birmingham ironwork. The dozy of Venice is such as this in his kitchens. Say 4 pennies and 1 halfpenny then.
We have need of such.
When I want counsel, I'll ask for it. Until then, soap your mouth.
Now, your need, my love, is for one of these patches. I have them in every cut and shape. Stars, moons, hearts, what you will. Here, take this and cover your pimple and let every man lust for you. Look at the kitchen Venus. Now, mistress, these brushes, they're the best. Brought out of Spain at great expense.
No tells.
I give you good counsel. Stock up well. I'll not be back again this way.
Why not?
Well, I'm not such a fool as to walk the country in the midst of war.
There's no war come yet, mister.
You say no war has come? Not here yet. Soon enough. It's come to London.
A few apprentice boys and sailors shouting.
Trained bands. Thousands and thousands of them. Godly men. Trained to war. I passed them at their drills on Turnham Green. They marched this week.
Have they arms, powder, shot?
Well, they've got the Tower of London, haven't they? The biggest armoury in Europe. Great guns you never saw the like. They'll blow the king and his bloody papist queen to hell.
We're loyal people here.
But more to fool you. Our London men march with God on their side and a sword in their hand to bring justice to the oppressed and execute vengeance upon the even. and punishment on the people.
This house and this family are loyal to the king, Tinker. And if the rebels come up this way, we'll shoot them and put them to the sword.
I thought I smelt a stink of popery.
It's not the smell of popery, mister. It's the smell of rotting corpses. English corpses.
Get out, you cockney Charlotte!
Get off!
I'll run you through and
Get
get
your
you
hands
put
off
on
me!
Oh, well. Good riddance.
There really is to be war, then, Will.
So it seems, Mistress D. So it seems.
Englishman against Englishman. That's not in nature, surely.
Well, natural or not, we'd best to get prepared.
If there's war, we might be shut up in this house for weeks. We'd best get more barrels of beef salted.
Goodbye, sir. You have honored my house.
Thank you, Commander.
A red rose in loyalty, sir.
Thank you, Lucinda.
Sweet Prince, may God preserve you. And you too, Brother Tom.